You don't need to be a nu metal fan to be familiar with these lines. Despite having a catchy melody, co-vocalist Chester Bennington's delivery of the chorus is largely responsible for the song's appeal. Sadly, he is no longer here with us today, and in this video we will journey through the tragic real-life story of Chester Bennington. Did Chester Bennington have reasons to commit suicide, despite the significant success he experienced with Linkin Park? According to Billboard, Chester Bennington's life was filled with tragedy, turbulence, and setbacks, and the depressing lyrics he sang in songs like Crawling, Numb, and One Step Closer were inspired by real-life events. His death in 2017 marked an incredibly premature end to his career, but how could the life of one of the most well-known rock singers of a generation have been so utterly miserable? Here's a sneak peek into Bennington's sad story. Chester Bennington was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, but as AllMusic points out, he had a very unhappy childhood, which isn't far-fetched seeing that his parents divorced when he was only 11 years old. He was left to fend for himself even though he had 3 siblings. Only one of them still lived at home, and communication between them and their police detective father was essentially non-existent. He once admitted in an interview that the only thing he wanted to do was kill everyone and run away. As Bennington himself has acknowledged, the circumstances sent him into some pretty dark depths. This is enough reason for anyone to contemplate suicide, but unfortunately, there's more. Was Bennington's only problem abandonment issues? In addition to his issues with abandonment, sadly, Bennington also had myriads of childhood traumas that included abuse and substance misuse. The next hit Bennington suffered in his 41-year short life was abuse as a child. He spoke about this prolonged period of abuse from an older child in an interview in 2008 with Tom Bryant for Kerrang! He explained that it all started when he was only 7 or 8 years old. This abuse, though it was by a friend who was only a few years older than him, it escalated from a touchy, curious what does this thing do into full-on crazy violations. He was also beaten up and forced to do things he didn't want to do, so he couldn't do anything to stop it. He felt helpless, and this experience messed with his self-confidence. Young Bennington experienced a terrifying situation which was made worse by the fact that he was simply too afraid to speak up and worried that people might assume he was gay or a liar. When Bennington was 13 years old, the abuse finally stopped. Just like you, he took a breath of relief when the harassment stopped. If only he had known that there were many more gloomy days ahead. What else did Bennington have to struggle with? Another brutal jab that life threw at Bennington's heart was the death of a good friend. According to CNN, Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell, a fellow rock singer, were close friends. And Cornell reportedly served as a major source of inspiration for young Bennington until they crossed paths while on tour in 2008 and hit it off right away. Their families quickly became close, and Bennington even agreed to be Cornell's son's godfather. Sadly, their friendship was short-lived, as Chris Cornell committed suicide on May 18, 2017, ending it after less than 10 years. And just 2 months later, Bennington also passed away in a similar way. Another long-term companion that Bennington had was an addiction. Chester Bennington's childhood was exceedingly traumatic. Outside his existing family issues, he struggled greatly in school. An NME even claims that he was frequently the object of bullying, so he turned to drugs as one of his coping techniques. According to his comments to Louder in 2016, his early drug use was excessive and had a severe impact on his health. However, in an interview with Tom Bryant for Kerrang!, he eventually managed to wean himself off his hard drug habit after his mother realized the condition he was in at age 17 and put him on house arrest. Hold on, we said drugs were out of the picture, but we didn't say anything about alcohol yet. Don't go anywhere, because you're just about to find out about Bennington's struggle with alcohol. Did Bennington ever recover from his alcohol addiction? Bennington was able to stop using drugs, but he quickly started using marijuana and alcohol. In particular, the latter chemical turned into a persistent little monster. According to Kerrang!, Bennington was very forthcoming about his issues with alcohol and openly admitted to being an alcoholic via NME. He also disclosed that he was giving up drinking since he didn't like how it made him feel. Nevertheless, drinking remained a part of his life all the way up to the end. TMZ reports that Bennington had some alcohol in his system when he passed away in 2017. Chester Bennington also struggled with numerous physical injuries, in addition to internal ones, throughout his musical career, many of which occurred during Linkin Park concerts and tours. Bennington broke his arm during the first few songs of a Linkin Park concert in Australia in 2007, according to Digital Spy. Linkin Park's official website also revealed in 2011 that Chester Bennington might need surgery after suffering a shoulder injury on their Asian tour. According to a 2015 NME article, the vocalist injured his ankle while tripping over a water bottle while playing basketball with the band's Hunting Party Global Tour. The tour was canceled because the injury was simply too severe. Outside these, the music star also faced some online attacks. Are there other reasons why Bennington might have committed suicide? When you live in the spotlight, you run the risk of attracting considerably more attention than you'd like. The stalker of Chester Bennington and his wife, Delinda Bennington, according to Wired, was special. The individual took control of Bennington's online accounts and also tormented them with enigmatic phone calls and emails for nearly a year. Her obsession with learning everything there was to know about them reached pretty creepy heights. It finally came to light that the stalker wasn't just any superfan. After a laborious investigation, it was discovered that the stalker was a 27-year-old lab employee with a high-security clearance who had been using the stalker's computer to access a high-security nuclear research facility. Bennington also had a health challenge where he struggled with a hiatal hernia. Although it sounds bad, a hiatal hernia may not even cause any problems at all. But if things become very bad, you're going to require all kinds of severe illnesses that go along with it. According to MTV News, Chester Bennington's hiatal hernia wasn't a tiny unimportant one. Bennington developed a variant of the condition where the stomach acid enters the esophagus muscle, which is exceedingly painful and also results in other problems that make life challenging. The situation worsened to the point where it was clear surgery was necessary. Thankfully, he had the surgery, and it ended successfully. However, there's only so much surgery can do, and the surgeons couldn't fix his broken heart. Let's talk about Bennington's heart issues. Did Bennington ever recover from his divorce? There are numerous celebrity divorce stories because marriages that fall apart are an unavoidable byproduct of fame. Chester Bennington, according to Rolling Stone, was not an exception. When the singer met and wed Samantha Marie, he was a 19-year-old unknown. They ultimately divorced in 2005 after Linkin Park's success, but they had remained amicable enough for both of them to participate in parenting their kid. Bennington, however, admitted to Kerrang in 2009 that the divorce was extremely difficult for him and that the frustration had a significant negative impact on him, making him turn to alcohol once more as a coping mechanism. Rolling Stone claimed that Chester Bennington battled depression for a significant portion of his life, especially after his divorce. He addressed his issues with melancholy and addiction in public just as effortlessly as he did with his kids and his music during an interview with the radio station 102.7 KISS FM. He openly discussed how he had learned to keep himself busy to prevent spending too much time wallowing in his own thoughts and how he needed to affirm himself positively in order to prevent slipping into a bad mental state. So why did he actually commit suicide? No one can really point to a particular reason why he did it, but looking at these bits and pieces from his life story, we can tell that it's a compendium of many things. Bennington didn't have an easy life. His death was confirmed by Mike Shinoda, a co-vocalist for Linkin Park from Bennington, while it was being published by outlets, including the Associated Press's Twitter account. Shinoda posted on Twitter that he was shocked and heartbroken, but it's true. As soon as we get one, we will release an official statement. It didn't take long for Bennington's friends and fellow musicians to express shock and sadness over the singer's passing. A funeral service for Bennington was held on July 29th, and over 200 people attended. Along with his private ceremony, fans also paid tribute to the singer in a variety of ways. Although Linkin Park's future is uncertain, given how important Chester Bennington was to the band's sound, it wouldn't come as a huge surprise if the other band members decided to go on a prolonged hiatus. What are your thoughts on Chester Bennington's tragic life story? Do you think these were the reasons why he committed suicide? Feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. See you at the next one.